I'm 33 years old, so a little while back, I went to my cousin's wedding. Weddings are supposed to be fun, full of dancing, eating, and celebrating, but at the after party, things got a bit awkward because of my parents. Me and my folks, we don't really get along. It's like trying to mix oil and water. We just don't mix well, so we usually try to keep our distance and not talk much. Now let me tell you about my brother Jack. He's 29, and ever since we were kids, he's been the star of the family. You know, the kind of kid who could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. He asked for a new video game. Bam, he got it. Meanwhile, I'd be lucky to get a pat on the back. As we got older, this whole Jack can do no wrong thing didn't really change. Actually, it got worse. He turned into this super entitled guy who thinks the world owes him everything. Jack and I were not exactly what you'd call close. I decided a while back that I had enough of how my parents were treating me compared to him, especially when they dropped the bomb that they wouldn't pay for my college. That was a huge deal for me. I had to figure out everything on my own, scraping together scholarships, loans, you name it. Fast forward to now, and things are kind of okay. I mean, we're not throwing pies at each other's faces at family gatherings or anything. We keep it civil. A nod here, a hey there, but that's about it. Jack and I, we basically act like the other doesn't exist, which, to be honest, I'm cool with. I don't really want anything to do with him. The dude's a grown man, still living at home, acting like he's in high school. Weekends for him are all about video games, hanging out online, and drinking more beer than you'd find at a frat party. So yeah, that's the gist of it. Going to that wedding and dealing with all this family drama felt more like dodging landmines than celebrating. But hey, that's family for you, right? Continuing from the wedding scene, so there I was, just chilling with some relatives, sipping on something nice and talking about whatever comes to mind after the wedding. It's all pretty standard stuff, right? Out of the blue, my family decides to pull up a chair and join in. Now this was odd because let's be honest, we usually do our best to stay out of each other's way. But hey, it's a wedding, everyone's feeling good, so I didn't make a big deal out of it. We're all there, the conversation is bouncing around, and suddenly, it's like I'm under the spotlight. My dad, out of nowhere, decides to ask about my job. Now here's the thing. I work in banking and I recently got bumped up the ladder, got a nice raise to boot. I went out with my friends last weekend to celebrate, but that's my thing, you know? My family usually doesn't get into my business about work and stuff, so I kept it short and sweet, told him, yeah, it's going pretty good, and tried to leave it at that. But nope, my parents weren't about to let it slide just yet. My mom jumps in with this vibe like she's expecting me to spill the beans on something big, asking if there's anything else I might want to share with the family. Honestly, it felt a bit like being back in high school, where your parents are trying to dig into your life, but you're like, chill, I got this. It was one of those moments where you're caught off guard, but gotta keep it cool, especially with everyone listening in. So there I was, trying to keep things light when my dad suddenly drops the bomb that he knows all about my promotion and raise. That caught me off guard, not gonna lie. With all my relatives around, the last thing I wanted was to dive into my financial business. It felt way too personal, especially with an audience. I tried to brush it off, saying it was nobody's business and made a move to escape to the bathroom. Honestly, I just wanted to bail on the whole awkward situation. But then, my dad wasn't having any of it. He told me to sit back down, insisting we hash this out like family. That really got under my skin because to me, we hadn't been much of a family for a long time. It felt like they didn't see me as part of the family either, except for moments like this when they apparently needed something. And true to form, my dad laid it on thick, accusing me of being ungrateful and selfish. He said that after all the years they spent raising me, giving me everything I wanted as a kid, now that they were nearing retirement, I was turning my back on them. The whole table went silent. It was like you could hear a pin drop. Relatives started finding sudden interest in their phones or the patterns on the floor, clearly signaling this was a family drama they wanted no part in. It was painfully obvious my parents were trying to guilt trip me into opening my wallet for them. The real kicker? I knew exactly why they were suddenly so interested in my finances. So, here's the deal with my brother. He's basically living the life, but on my parents' dime. The guy doesn't have a job, but that doesn't stop him from living it up like he's some kind of celebrity. We're talking clubbing, hitting bars with his friends nearly every weekend. And let's not even start on his obsession with the latest tech. He's always got to have the newest gadgets because he thinks he's some tech wizard or something. This lifestyle, as you can guess, isn't cheap. And with my folks edging closer to retirement, the financial strain is real. They can't keep bankrolling his endless party and tech spree forever. It clicked for me right then and there. They were putting on this whole drama show in front of the family to pressure me into coughing up some cash. The plan? Embarrass me enough so I'd throw money their way to keep appearances up, then use that to keep pampering their favorite son. But I was done playing their game. The embarrassment stung, sure, but I wasn't about to get bullied into fixing their mess, especially not after how they'd treated me. They laughed me out of the room when I needed help with college, and now they expected me to open my wallet? No way. In that moment, I decided to give as good as I got. I reminded them, right there in front of everyone, about how they'd outright refused to help me with my college tuition years back. I wanted them to see that I remembered every detail of how they chose to support one son over the other. Hitting them with the truth about how they treated me back in the day, I couldn't help but bring up the painful memory of when they told me they could only afford to send one kid to college. And that kid wasn't going to be me. It was as if the mere suggestion that they help me with my education was some kind of comedy act to them. To my parents, I was nothing more than a punchline. But now, tables have turned. They see me doing well for myself while my brother continues to depend on them, and suddenly, they think it's time for me to contribute to the family. This wasn't about family unity, it was just another scheme to funnel more resources into my brother's bottomless pit of wants. So I laid it all out for them, reminded them how they had never really invested in me beyond what was legally required. They provided me shelter and basic needs until I was 18, but let's be real, they did that because they had to, not out of any sense of parental love or kindness. In the heat of the moment, as I recounted these injustices, my emotions caught up with me. My voice cracked, betraying the hurt that was welling up inside. Before I knew it, I had to make a break for the bathroom. I couldn't let them see me fall apart. I couldn't give them the satisfaction of knowing they'd gotten to me that deeply. It was a tough pill to swallow, confronting the fact that your own parents see your worth only in what you can provide, not in who you are. So after that whole emotional roller coaster, I needed a moment to myself. When I got back from the bathroom, it seemed like the storm had passed. The crowd had scattered, and the spot we were at was empty. Taking that as my cue, I decided to call it a night and head home. Tried my best to push the whole mess to the back of my mind for the next few days, but then my brother comes out of nowhere with a bombshell. Turns out, our little showdown at the wedding wasn't just a spectacle for those present, it became the hot topic among our relatives. And here's the kicker. It seems my parents have been playing their